Hi everyone, what's up and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm really excited because it's the first video that I do being part of the Movie Nerds Club. And if you guys don't know what the Movie Nerds Club is, basically a bunch of movie creators get together once a month and we bring you guys videos under the same topic, so we each have different lists. And this month the topic was TIFF award winners, and obviously because the Toronto International Film Festival is happening very soon and we're here to talk about our favorite movies that have won at TIFF, and I'm so excited to give you guys my list, but I'm also excited for you guys to check out everybody else's list. After this video ends, make sure to check out my description because down below I'll have everybody's channel and their videos, so you guys can go ahead and subscribe to them and like and comment on their videos, because I know here everybody's gonna have an awesome video and I'm just excited for you guys and for myself to see everybody's different opinions. And before I get started on my list, also make sure to comment down below your list of your favorite TIFF award winners. I'm super excited to hear what you guys have to say because there's a really great pool of movies here and I feel like almost everybody's gonna have something different. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started talking about my top 5 TIFF award winners. Coming in number 5 has to be Room. Room is about a boy named Jack who is 5 years old and has lived his whole life in one room. He believes everything within it are the only real things in the world, but what will happen when his ma suddenly tells him that there are other things outside of the room? This movie has some of the best talent that I have ever seen on screen, especially from Jacob Tremblay, who I believe at the time was only 8 years old. He's more talented than a ton of other actors in the industry, and it's crazy. He just really blew my mind when I was watching this movie, and a lot of it is because his performance feels very real and grounded. He genuinely feels like a little kid. And a lot of this movie really depends on his performance because there's a lot of scenes, and for the most part this movie is in his perspective, which just added an awesome element to the movie, storytelling wise and character wise. We hadn't get to see this world that, to me and to a lot of people, thinking of this mother and son being held captive for years, and to have this little boy look at everything with such wonder and just this incredible and positive gaze and just wonder and imagination is something incredible, and it adds emotional moments to this movie. And I just thought that decision was incredible, and Jacob Tremblay just blew off my expectations of what he could have done, and I think he's one of the best child actors working today, and he's just so talented. This movie is incredible. I honestly wish he would have gotten an Oscar nomination for his performance. And then we have Brie Larson, who of course did win Best Actress at the Academy Awards, which definitely deserved. She also did a really great job, and I love in the third act a lot of moments where she just breaks down. Incredible. And this movie, although it does have other actors, for the most part, especially at the beginning, it really just depends on both of them and this location, and they really use it to the best of their abilities. This movie is really engaging too, and it takes you on a roller coaster. This movie, I always remember the first time I saw this movie because I bawled my eyes out so many times, and it's a visceral experience what this movie does to you. My heart was like pounding out of my chest. I was just as scared as the characters in this movie, and when a filmmaker is able to do that, they really did do their job in crafting just an excellent story that makes you feel something. If I did have to give this movie a negative, I think the filmmaking could have used some work. They could have done a better job at utilizing the filmmaking to the story's ability, because everything else, in my opinion, is pretty much perfect, but I wish that kind of had a little bit more. And it is one of the best movies I think I've ever seen, especially one of the best emotional dramas ever. And yeah, my 5th spot goes to Room. My number 4 pick would be La La Land. Mia, an aspiring actress, serves lattes to movie stars in between auditions, and Sebastian, a jazz musician, scrapes by playing cocktail party gigs in dingy bars. But as success mounts, they are faced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they work so hard to maintain in each other threaten to rip them apart. That's honestly one of the best synopses I've ever read. I just need to say that. But I love this movie. There's so much good to talk about here that like a little short segment in a video isn't enough. This movie feels so electrifying, and just like Room does, this movie brings you into the story in such a great way. The character work in this movie is incredible. There's so many props, there's so many lines that just give us so much information about these characters in a span of like 10 minutes. And the movie as a whole, in 2 hours, you get so many emotions and so many life emotions. Like, you don't just get happy moments, you don't just get sad moments, you get all of the moments and the ones in between. Every time I watch it, knowing the ending, knowing how things turn out, it still doesn't ruin the experience, if that makes sense, and I think that's one of the best positives that I could give this movie. Damien Chazelle directed this movie incredibly. The shots feel like so dreamy. I just love the energy that this movie has so very much. And I haven't even talked about Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling because they're both great. Ryan Gosling is good, but I think Emma Stone is incredible and steals the show, but their chemistry together is incredible. You root for them, but then you kind of start seeing the reality of their relationship and you question, are they really meant for each other? That it's just like there are so many elements that these characters have. This movie would not have worked without the amazing and character work that this movie has. I just really do enjoy this movie a lot. So coming in number 3 has to be Jojo Rabbit, a World War II satire that follows a lonely German boy whose worldview is turned upside down when he discovers his single mother is hiding a young Jewish girl in their attic. Aided only by his idiotic imaginary friend Adolf Hitler, Jojo must confront his blind nationalism. This movie has no right to be as good as it is. The concept itself is crazy, and only Taika Waititi playing Hitler, he's also fantastic because I think in this movie he doesn't go too far, and also the direction in this movie is incredible. The framing of the shots in this movie are incredible. The scenes are so well compositioned, and the color palette of this movie is also so great. There's so many awesome technical aspects with this movie, but the story here is so rich and full of incredible themes that I really didn't expect when I first saw this movie. The music in this movie is also used in such a great way, probably the best from 2019, because not only is the soundtrack great, but the score so good, and the cast is great, like Roman Griffin Davis, Scarlett Johansson, Thomasin McKenzie, Sam Rockwell. Like, this cast is so awesome, and I love how they all work with each other. This movie is the biggest surprise from 2019, and I'm surprised at how much I really do love this movie, but ever since I've seen this movie, it has not escaped my mind, and Jojo Rabbit has to come in 3rd place. Coming in at number 2 has to be one that I actually rewatched recently, and it has to be, hold on, let me pull it out, The Princess Bride. In this enchantingly cracked fairy tale, the beautiful Princess Buttercup and the dashing Wesley must overcome staggering odds to find happiness amid six-fingered swordsmen, murderous princes, Sicilians, and rodents of unusual size. But even death can't stop these true lovebirds from triumphing. This movie just hits so different, and like reading that, you're probably like, what the heck? Why could this be this good? And it works so well. Maybe nostalgia is a huge reason why I love this movie, because I remember watching this back in the day when ABC Family was still a thing. I would always see it on TV, and it always fascinated me. This movie entertained me so much more than like I ever thought it could entertain me. And when I got the Criterion this year, this remastered version is so incredible. It's the best version that I've seen the movie in. You have to go into this movie approaching it from like a satirical standpoint, I have to say. If you go into it thinking it's gonna be super serious, you're probably gonna hate this movie, but this is like one of the best 80s movie. It's everything that I love about the 80s, honestly, in an entire movie and fantasy genre. This movie is so fantastical, and I love the world building here so much. It's so interesting, and every single time they're in a new location, there's something else to be learned about. And the practical effects look pretty good, honestly. And this movie, although it has, I guess, cliches of like the princess and the prince, it turns it in a way that is honestly surprising, unique, and just very interesting. This movie is really unique. I have to say that. I've never seen anything like it. I think the tone of this movie is something that is really hard to recreate and just do in general, because it could come off as like really bad humor and just really bad in general, and this movie doesn't do that at all. It does it in the best way possible. And I also love the way the story is told, because if you don't know it, the movie is a book, and it's told by the grandfather, who's played by Peter Falk, and he's so good in his role. And I love the little kid's reaction. And what I love so much about this movie is that as the grandfather is reading the book, he stops sometimes, and the little kid is like, what? Keep going. And it's just the reactions of the little kid match your reaction as an audience, and it makes it engaging and that much more funner to watch, because it feels like the grandfather is everybody's grandfather and he's reading the story to everyone. It's really cool how all of that was played out with this movie. There are so many memorable characters, so many incredible lines in this movie that like I always quote myself, that I've quoted my whole life. But even though I've been saying that to look at this movie as a satire, as a comedy, there's a lot of really nice elements in this movie and themes. I remember as a little kid, I always loved the theme of hope that this movie has. I still get the exact same feelings, but in a different way, and it's something that like I've taken with me in my life. I think the portrayal of hope and wonder in this movie is incredible, and it's just the balance of this movie is great. I love it, and this movie has passed the test of time and will continue to do so, because I think it's one that people are going to keep enjoying as the years go on. I mean, I've enjoyed this for such a long time, and I don't think I ever will stop enjoying it. So The Princess Bride comes at number 2. And what is my favorite movie that has won an award at TIFF? Well, that would be Life is Beautiful, a touching story of an Italian bookseller of Jewish ancestry who lives in his own little fairy tale. His creative and happy life would come to an abrupt halt when his entire family is deported to a concentration camp during World War II. while locked up, he tries to convince his son that the whole thing is just a game. I remember the first time I saw this movie, it was actually in 7th grade in one of my English language art classes, and that's the most memorable thing that I have from 7th grade, honestly, is watching this movie. This movie has been one of my favorites for a long time, and it's one that I don't really talk about often, but it's impacted me in a way that I never really thought about until making this video. The concept itself of taking this really tragic story, but through the eyes of this father who is really well played by Roberto Benigni, is one of the best decisions any filmmaker, any writer could have ever done in a movie. It's a very tragic story, but it's also a comedy at the same time, and the blends of those two things is something that is so hard to do. I feel like I've said that many times in this video, but when it's done right, it's one of the best things that any movie could ever do, and that's what this movie does. Even though this is my favorite movie in this list, I don't have many words to say because it's just, you have to experience it. And I don't revisit it often because I always get so sad when I watch it, but every single time that I do end up watching it, it's like I somehow feel alive again. I know, very strange. I don't think I make any sense, but if anybody does understand me, thanks very much. This movie also has such an incredible love story. The love story in this movie is one of my favorites. These characters, you can really feel the love that they have for each other and for their kid and as a family. With such a really sad and sensitive topic, to be able to bring almost light and shine to these moments is something that is just really like inspiring to watch and really remarkable to see in a movie. And I think it's incredible to see how much a father is willing to go, the love of a parent is willing to go to just save and make their kid the happiest ever. And I can't not talk about this movie without talking about the beautiful music from Nicola Piovani. It's one of the best scores I've ever heard. Everything works in this movie. I think this is the perfect film because it makes me feel everything that this movie intended to feel. It has incredible performances, it has incredible characters, incredible dialogue, great directing. Everything about this movie is amazing, and that's why it comes in first place. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and make sure to check out my description right now so that you can binge all of Movie Nerds Club's videos. I'm so excited to check out everybody else's video, and that's pretty much it for me today, guys. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment to stay up to date with all of my upcoming videos. My 31 Nights of Horror series is coming very, very soon, and you won't want to miss it, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I love you all very much and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all for your endless support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.